And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
We've only got him for about 15 minutes, maybe less because of votes coming up. Congressman Ron Paul needs no introduction. Globally now recognized as the true leader of the liberty movement against collectivism and corruption. We've got a host of questions for him. Sir, gold is exploding. Silver is exploding right now. The Federal Reserve is monetizing now 70% of the debt. The dollar is plunging. Everything you've talked about is beginning to unfold. OPEC's talking about $200 a barrel oil. Is this the big event you've been talking about that we're beginning to see come into view?
Well, it's huge, and it has started, and whether it comes about and really is identified as the big event and everybody recognizes it within the next 30 days or so, I'm not positive. But I believe it is the beginning, but it's been going on. You know, you and others have been talking about commodity prices going up, but even Greenspan today had talk. He said, hey, we better keep an eye on this inflation. You know, but what he fails to see, is so many others fail to see, is inflation is when they print the money and create the credit out of thin air, and then the price increases come afterwards. So we've known there's been inflation. Now we're just looking for the bad results. So, yes, this is big, and that surge in gold today is a big issue. Today I was talking to the staff, but I didn't say the price of gold was up. I said, well, the dollar was just further devalued, against gold, which is the ultimate test. Devaluation's not good for anybody.
But when you grill Bernanke monthly in the banking committee, he almost sometimes does laugh when you talk about inflation. He acts like it's no issue, but the head of Walmart says that inflation is going to be very serious.
Well, I think it's further along than we realize. You've probably seen the stories about how the retail people are fooling the people for a while. At least they try. To make the bottles a little smaller and put 15 ounces in a bag instead of 16 ounces and, just cutting corners. But that is not the solution to inflation. The solution to inflation is not having a Federal Reserve run by somebody like Bernanke.
Shifting gears into the war, Obama didn't even approach Congress for even a flimsy authorization of force. That's clearly impeachable, but you've pointed out Bush did similar things. But, shouldn't, even if Obama is a puppet congressman, shouldn't we move for congressional hearings to talk about these new wars that are being launched?
Well, it would be nice, but I think that we should have been doing this and demanding that we meet our responsibilities in the Congress 20, 30, 40 years ago. Every day it's less and less. I was thinking about this government close down. One of the downside of this, or at least we come out with the truth, let's say we close the government down, but and Congress no longer is functioning, and the government's not functioning, so to speak. But you know what? Government's going to continue to function. Do you think the regulators aren't going to regulate? Do you think the Fed's not going to print money? Do you think they're not going to bail out people? What it would point out is that Congress is truly irrelevant. We've known it's been irrelevant with the war issue, but, that would be, a mixed blessing. It would point out the truth, but it would also indicate that we're in bad shape because Congress doesn't have much to say about what's going on.
Congressman, does this not set the clearest precedent ever under globalism, one world government? Even Fox News has made that point, that the president then took orders from the UN in less than 48 hours, launched the bombardment of Libya?
Yeah, and they, even Bush Sr. bragged about that. Remember, he didn't want to go to Congress. He came and got a token approval in 1990, 91, for the Persian Gulf War. But he says he got his orders from the UN. He didn't need to go to Congress. He eventually did. But he even used the word. That was the first time I heard a president use the word New World Order. Anybody that used that had to be a conspiracy nut. But Bush was saying, well, this is what we need to do for the New World Order. And they used that, of course, when they gave us the WTO. The New World Order is marching on. And the New World Order is certainly looking at this monetary crisis. We want, the Constitution. We want sound money. We want gold money and honest money. At the same time, the internationalists are planning, for their international fiat currency.
Stay there. Let's come back with that, Congressman. Quick break. We'll be right back with Ron Paul. All right. We've only got 10 minutes with him once the bell rings for the vote. So we got Congressman Ron Paul joining us. Obviously needs no introduction. We were just talking to him a few minutes ago. If you just joined us, we were raising this point of Obama becoming the first sitting president to be sitting on the UN Security Council as the head of it, violating Article 1, Section 9. Now, not even getting a token authorization of force or resolution from Congress following UN orders to launch that attack in less than 48 hours. We were talking about this really being the biggest move yet for the New World Order, and then we were getting into, Congressman, how we want more liberty. We don't want dollar devaluation. We want Congress in control of currency and credit. But instead, the banksters you were mentioning, they want something else. They're openly calling now for a world government, an IMF, World Bank, Bancor, global currency. Can you speak to that, please?
Yes, and I think the evidence is mounting about our concerns about the dollar, crashing. Prices are going up. They've been going up. But I thought it was very important today that Bernanke, in his sweet talk admitted that, prices are going up. We'll have to watch this very carefully in case we have to do something. Of course, all the damage has been done over the last 3 years because they doubled and tripled the money supply, and that's where the problem is. So they know what we know and what we talk about. They know that the dollar's days are limited, and we plan and hope that we can restore constitutional money and hard money and sound economic policy. At the same time, the crisis that's coming, the new world orders, the world people, they see it as an opportunity to move one step forward. They go to war, and they go to war under NATO and United Nations, not by the Congress. But they want also, because ultimately the big one is control of the money. So they are making their plans to have a worldwide fiat currency, the IMF, World Bank operations. But they have a long way to go because that still is fake money. It's fiat money, and they have to defy the marketplace. I mean, they may make the attempt, and they may be able to cause a lot of harm in the meantime. But ultimately, sound money wins out. Just hopefully we do our job and liberty wins out over the tyrants.
Congressman, looking at what's happening around the world and the French basically invading Ivory Coast, these moves into Libya with the Special Forces advisors there. I mean, I've even seen statements out of NATO and others that this is a great day for globalism, a great day for world governance, that now the UN, if rebels in any country rebel, the UN can pick and choose and decide whether to have a resolution to basically back the rebels and bomb them. I mean, that's really a flimsy face, in my view, over neo-colonialism.
Yeah, it's just a change, and it's not going to work for them, no matter how hard they try and how many temporary military victories they have. It's going to be a failed system. I think Obama has the worst policy conceivable. First, he goes in on his own under UN, and then he uses our force to intimidate him. And then he says, oh, the American people must not like this, so I'm going to back off. There's no way that we won't be blamed for everybody getting killed over there because it'll be our weapons and our money, and if they need us, we're going to go back in, and already they do have our CIA agents in there, and we've handpicked a guy that lived over here for 20 years. We've sent him over. But it's messier than that. They can't iron this out. They think they've ironed it out in Iraq and Afghanistan, and they're nowhere close to it, even in Iraq. I think that's a terrible mess. But here we are over-assisting the rebels in Libya, and already it's well known that Al-Qaeda has infiltrated the rebels in Libya. So they're doomed to fail, and the bankruptcy will bring us to our knees. Let's just hope we can put it back together in a lot better shape than we have it now. Well,
as you know, Congressman, and because you've cited his work quite a bit, Michael Scheuer, the former head of the bin Laden program at the CIA, chief analyst, just 2 days ago on CNN, he said, look, you guys are putting out pure theater. So is Hillary. So is Obama. This is absolute garbage. There is Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda is the core of this group. And it turns out that even the guy trained in Virginia admits that he sent troops previously to Iraq to kill our soldiers. So we're told we got to be in Pakistan looking for 100 Al-Qaeda total in Afghanistan and Pakistan. But then you have thousands of admitted Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb, there in North Africa, and they're now our allies. This is beyond 1984.
Yeah, no, it's total insanity. And one thing we know, it will fail, but how many people are going to suffer in the meantime? But it will serve its purpose in many ways by bringing us to our knees. And some of them, like the opportunity, they don't let emergencies go to waste. They take advantage of it, and that's why they think they can advance the New World Order and one world government under these conditions. But, I think communications these days are such that our message is spreading, and I hope we're going to be very good competitors with the one worlders.
Well, that's my next point. We were talking during the break about how Fox even admits to you, well, we have you on because the viewership goes up. There's still a free market of ideas. And Cass Sunstein and others, and now we've seen Senator Graham with the foolish Koran burning, saying maybe we should restrict free speech on Face the Nation. We're seeing Jay Rockefeller saying we would have been better off without ever having an internet. We see real moves and real announcements for fairness doctrine with this perfect storm of dinosaur media that's carrying water for the insiders, losing credibility, government losing credibility, and so more and more of a incentive to try to shut down our voices, but the genie's out of the bottle. What's your view on that?
Well, I think we always have to be vigilant, and I think they are going to try very hard. I think if you look at the educational system, the real competition in education is homeschooling and private schooling. And the government doesn't like that. They don't like this competition. But so far, more and more people are joining it. I think you're going to have a hard time closing us all down. I think they're going to have a hard time taking our guns. I think they're going to have a hard time taking the gold away from us like they did in the 30s. I just don't think that's going to happen. I think our side is growing and is alive and well and more determination. Some people probably are further along in their pessimism about what we can salvage than I am. But I remain, in many ways, optimistic that much good can come of this. And so no matter how hard they try to suppress us, I think it's going to be impossible to do it.
Well, you're right, and that's what you've written about and spoken about for decades. If we individually live a philosophy of liberty, it's going to outshine everything around us, our neighbors, local government, federal government, and people are going to see that success and that track record of being accurate. For 30 years, you've talked about inflation, tax, devaluation. In the campaign 3 years ago, some tried to laugh at you, but now I see editorials in major papers everywhere saying Ron Paul won't get the snub this time, and that leads me to 2012. Obviously, even if you didn't get the nomination, it would be a great educational victory to have you in those debates. When are we going to be hearing an announcement, Congressman, on whether you're going to run for president or not?
Well, it can't be too far off. I would think in a month or so I'm going to have to make a final decision. Matter of fact, I may have to make a token decision on one debate. They're inviting potential candidates to go to South Carolina in May, and I'm pretty close to saying that I will come without a commitment to what I'm going to do in filing legal papers. So we're getting awfully close, and there's just a few other things that I have to iron out personally to make my final decision. But it has to come. But none of the other major candidates have made that official announcement. I'm not quite sure.
Obama, that's all, Obama.
Yeah, Obama. He's the one that got out in front of everybody else. So I guess there aren't going to be any other candidates. Maybe the other Republicans are intimidated. Maybe they think they can't beat him now that he's a popular war president.
Well, sir, you're going to win in the intellectual battle. I mean, the great educational engagement you did 3 years ago, I would guess is going to be dwarfed. I'm a little worried about your safety. I think everybody should pray for you, also financially support you. I mean, obviously, I hope you're going to have some really good bodyguards because I believe you've got a chance to actually win, sir, and then you're going to have to publicly come out when they try to steal the nomination from you like they threatened Reagan with if he didn't put George Herbert Walker Bush on. I mean, do you have any concerns about your safety?
Well, yeah, when I get in a car and when I get in airplanes, I mean, just normal life provides dangers to us. People urged me to be cautious in the last campaign, and I didn't change things a whole lot. You can go through life being intimidated, but I think, being a little more cautious is wise, but I don't peek around every corner.
Well, certainly you're bold and have a lot of courage. My point is, clearly the global banking establishment, if it really looks like you're going to become president, which is now in the realm of serious reality, I mean, certainly these people are known for bombing countries that don't have central banks they run.
Yeah. Did you see where they set up a central bank with the radicals with the rebels in Libya? First thing they did, we got a couple of rebels out here. We need a central bank. That isn't insane.
Well, we're almost out of time with you, Congressman. I've got a few other questions for you.
Okay, we have about 3 minutes. I think we can do them.
Okay, great. So they have rung the bell now.
Yeah.
Congressman Jesse Ventura was on here yesterday, former governor. Obviously, I'm sure you've heard his announcement that if you leave the Republican Party, he'd be happy to be your VP running mate. If you run for president, well, is it going to be as a Republican?
As of now, that's mainly what I've been thinking of, but I guess in life you should always keep all options open. But right now I'm still a Republican congressman, and we did it last time as a Republican. And there's a lot of people who get mixed messages from that because Republicans don't always stand for liberty, as you know. Parties are somewhat irrelevant to me, whether I'm an independent, Republican, or libertarian. I think there are vehicles for delivering a message. So right now I am working within the Republican Party.
Congressman, looking at the TSA, are there plans on congressional hearings? Multiple states are moving to try to bar the TSA, sticking their hands down people's pants, baking people in radiation microwaves. What are you doing to try to reverse that?
Well, one thing is that I feed a lot of information to Jason Chaffetz, who's the chairman of that subcommittee, and he is hot on that issue. He's a very good congressman, and he is outraged over it, as we all should be. And I think if people have examples, the bad examples of it, that always helps, visuals and pictures or anything. If they can either send it to him directly or to me, I think we can make use of that as a weapon because there will be hearings on this.
All right. In closing, building up towards an announcement to run for president, my gut tells me you're going to do it, sir, because you understand it's just too important to get the word out. What can listeners and liberty supporters do to start getting their engines warmed up to give you the maximum support out of the gates when and if you make this announcement?
Well, in a couple of weeks, I think it's April 19th, I have another little book coming out. That might be a time for an explosion of interest. And the book does not make money for me. It goes into my foundation. So, but it's a message. It's a book talking about 50 issues dealing with, and it's called Liberty Defined. And coinciding that with an announcement could be interesting, even though those plans have not been made to do such. But it's something that people could be looking at. Well,
the day you announce, we're going to try to set up a money bomb, and we'll focus people over towards the, Campaign for Liberty when that happens?
Well, I have to think about that. It might have to be a political side. Campaign for Liberty is not political, so you can't do, but you can do something.
That would be the congressional coffers then. Well, sir, thank you so much for spending time with us. Go to your vote, and God bless you, and Godspeed.
Thank you.
All right, there goes Congressman Ron Paul. We went a little bit into that break. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.